Children will continue then. Already we saw that the age they are called as the Paleolithic. Paleolithic period, it divided into three. They are lower Paleolithic period, middle Paleolithic period and upper Paleolithic period. We saw that. Understand? Next period is Mesolithic. Here in the lower Paleolithic period, the peoples they are Homo means that and all we see Homo erectus, and the middle Paleolithic period, the people in the lower Paleolithic period, the people they were the apes. They belongs to the humans, they belongs to ape. Then middle Paleolithic period, somewhat they grown up and they becomes in a hand use, that we saw. In the upper Paleolithic age, the people they used the horns and the ivories. They used horns, ivories and the sharpened blades. They use the needles, fish hooks, harpoons, spears. Understand? Then fish hoops they used for fishing. Somewhat they got knowledge. Understand? They become somewhat wise men. So they started to use and they started to live in the houses like huts. இவங்க கேவ்ஸில் இருந்தாங்கன்னு பார்த்தோம். லோவர் பேலியோலித்திக் பீரியடில் they lived in the caves. Understand? But in the upper Paleolithic period, they started to live in the houses and they cook food. They cook food and they wore clothes. Clothes எல்லாம் போட ஆரம்பிச்சாங்க. And the dead bodies they buried. They buried the dead bodies. So somewhat the culture it developed. The humans culture developed from lower Paleolithic period somewhat to middle Paleolithic period we saw. And in upper Paleolithic period, the culture again it developed and the people they started to use horns and the ivory and they sharpened the blade and they used the fish hoops for the fishing activity, and they built some small houses like huts they used, and they used to start cultivating the food items, and they wore clothes and they buried the dead bodies. So somewhat development in the upper Paleolithic period. So these are all about the Paleolithic period. Next period is called as Mesolithic period. Understand? This Mesolithic period is between the period Paleolithic and Neolithic. The period between this Mesolithic period is between the Paleolithic period. Next varapora last period is Neolithic period. The Neolithic period ko Paleolithic period ko middle la irukradha this Mesolithic period. This Mesolithic period is otherwise called as middle period. Mesolithic period is otherwise called as middle culture, middle Mesolithic culture, middle Stone Age period. This is called as middle Stone Age. Middle Stone Age period. Have you understand, children? And in this period, the people they lived gatherers. They were the hunters gathering together. They lived gatherers. They lived together. Understand? சேர்ந்து எல்லாம் ஒரே ஃபேமிலியா they lived together and they were the hunters. Understand? And they lived in the coastal areas, in the hilly region. the hills, understand, hilly region and the riverine. What are called as riverine? Near the rivers, the beds of the rivers, the banks of the rivers, they are called as riverine. The people lived in the coastal areas, hilly region and the riverine areas. In the Paleolithic period, we saw that the people lived in the caves. But in the Mesolithic period, the people, they started to live in the coastal areas and other areas. Understand? And the tools they used, they were wooden tools. The tools, they were used as wooden tools they made and bone handles, with bone handles. The wooden tools with bone handles they used, the tools. Okay. So, these are all about the Mesolithic period. Now, the third one is Neolithic Age. This is the third. This is second one and this period is first period. Okay. Now, the third period. Shall I write here? Shall I write here, children? The third period is called as Neolithic. Neolithic culture or Neolithic period. Here, in this period, the people started to do agriculture. The people, they started to do the agriculture and they domesticated the animals. They domesticated the animals and in this evidence where we can see அப்படினு கேட்டா in the Mesopotamian area and Indus Valley. Indus Valley in India we can see that, and the Ganga Valley and China. So, this is Neolithic period. The people, they started to do agriculture, understand, and they domesticated animals. They started to pet animals. பார்க்குறோம்ல வீட்டில் வளர்க்குறோம்ல அது மாதிரி அவங்க என்ன பண்ணாங்க, they started to domesticated the animals and the people where we can see them அப்படின்னு கேட்டால் they lived in the Mesopotamian river valleys. Mesopotamian area, no, in that area, and in Indus Valley civilization in India and the Ganga Valley and in China we can see the people, and they started to, here all the valleys I said, for that only they started to do agriculture, the occupation. What the occupation they did? Agriculture. And ennallam agriculture la pannangala, they started to cultivate wheat, barley, they started to crop, and peas were cultivated, fruits and nuts, and they cultivated the dates also. Dates na theriyala, perichambazham solromla, the dates and pomegranate, so nariya fruits. Okay, so they started to do agriculture, I told you, and they cultivated many crops like wheat, barley and peas, and even fruits also they cultivated. What are the fruits we can see? Many fruits like pomegranate, then dates, apples, understand, and the nuts also they started to cultivate it. So somewhat in the culture again it developed with comparing to Paleolithic and Mesolithic. The Paleolithic period, afterwards the culture was developed in Mesolatic period. So in this Mesolatic period, Adavidamo Neolithic period, the people they well developed. Understand? The people they were well developed, and this Neolithic age is called as the New Age because of the development. This age is called as the new age, and the domesticating animals, then cultivation of cultivation of what we can say, the crops and fruits and domesticating, and they lived in this Mesopotamian Indus Valley, and they started to make tools, wooden tools and iron tools. They started to make wooden and iron tools, and they were permanent. They built the permanent houses. Many permanent houses they built. They built many permanent houses. They developed many large villages have started. Large villages have started. For that only, this Neolithic age is called as the New Age. New Age means new revolution. Understand? Many developments has happened in this Neolithic age. Understand? Can you able to follow, children? Another age is there. That age is called as the, I'll write here, Ice Age. This Ice Age is the period before 8000 BC. Before 8000 BC. Full of ice and snow. Full of ice, the place, the period. Understand? That period is fully covered with ice and snow. That is why this period before 8000 BC, that is before Christ, this period is called as the Ice Age. Have you understand, children? Again I will recall this. In this prehistoric period, there were geology, or then archaeology and biology periods we saw. In archaeology, archaeology means the study of the human past remains in the buried ground, we saw that. Then paleontology, we saw that. That is the study of the human fossil. Understand? Fossil in the earth, fossil material, fossil remain. That is in the paleontologists. Then next one, the apes, we saw the great apes. Okay, the gorillas and the chimpanzees. From the apes, the development of apes into human. The humans, they are called as Homo sapiens. Understand? The Homo sapiens start the first people, they were from the ape, humana, the maarumodu enna adha sonnangan sonna hominins. Understand? And then afterwards, slowly the development had happened. They started to use their hands. They started walking like humans. Understand? The apes. And they started to eat like humans. So much development in the ape. Understand? So afterwards, the development of these apes, the humans are called as Homo sapiens. Understand? These are we saw before itself. And the period of prehistoric period, it was divided into three periods. They are Paleolithic period, first one, and Mesolithic period, and the third one was Neolithic period. Understand? In the Paleolithic period, there were three divisions: Lower Paleolithic period, Middle Paleolithic period, and Upper Paleolithic period. Three divisions. One Lower Paleolithic period, Middle Paleolithic period, somewhat development in the human being activities, and in Upper Paleolithic period, somewhat more development in the activities of the humans that we saw. They used horn and ivories, and they sharpened the blade to hunting the animals. Understand? And their fish hoops, they started to use for the fishing, and they built somewhat huts, small houses, and they wore clothes, they eat food. Understand? They buried the dead bodies. So somewhat development than the lower Paleolithic period, middle Paleolithic period, upper Paleolithic period, somewhat development. Okay, so these are. The second period is called as, the age is called as Mesolatic Age or Mesolatic Period. This Mesolatic period is otherwise called as Middle Stone Age. Understand? In this Middle Stone Age is the period between the Paleolithic period and the third one, Neolithic period. Understand? The people, they lived in the hunters gatherers. Okay, they jointly they lived together. Okay, so they were the gatherers and they lived in the coastal areas, then hilly region. The Paleolithic period la people enga vaazhndanga paatho in the caves, on the top of the trees, under the top of the under the trees, like that. Okay, in the forest, they lived in the forest. But in the Mesolithic period, the people, somewhat development it happened and they started to live in coastal areas, hilly region and the banks of the rivers, that is riverine. And they used the wooden tools. They started they used the bone handled weapons, the tools, bone handled weapons. Okay, then the third age is called as Neolithic period, Neolithic age. And the people, much development had happened in the human beings. They started to do agriculture. Many crops are cultivated, crops, fruits. What are the crops? We saw that wheat, barley, peas, like that they cultivated, and many fruits like pomegranate, like that, dates, like that they started to cultivate, and many nuts, the trees, they plants, understand. So agriculture was much developed during Neolithic period. Okay, and they started to domesticate the animals also. They domesticated animals to help them, understand. And where they lived, the Neolithic people, where they lived, they lived in the Mesopotamian river valley, the Mesopotamian area river valley, and the Indus Valley in India, understand, and Ganga and the parts of China, the this what Havangho river, Havangho civilization. நம்ம next lesson la adala paapom, the civilizations, 4 civilizations we'll see in the next chapter. Okay, elaborately we'll see. Okay, and these are all about in the Neolithic age. And this, because of the much development in Neolithic age, this period is called as the New Age. And the people started to use the wooden tool, wooden make tools and iron weapons, iron tools they started to use, and they built permanent houses. இப்போ மெசோலித்திக் பீரியடில் ஹவுஸ் பில்ட் பண்ணாங்க. சம்வாட் ஒரு குரூப்பில் இங்கே இருப்பாங்க கொஞ்ச நாளைக்கு, தென் ரிவர்ஸில் தண்ணியெல்லாம் வற்றி போயிடுச்சு, அங்கே ரிவர் எதுவுமே இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொன்னால் தே பாஸ் ஆன் டு அனதர் பிளேஸ் லைக் நோமேட்ஸ், அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட். அது ஒரு இடத்துலேருந்து இன்னொரு இடத்துக்கு போகிறவங்க தான் தே ஆர் கால்ட் அஸ் நோமேட்ஸ், அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட். த பீப்புள் ஃப்ரம் ஒன் பிளேஸ் டு going to another place, the migration, they are called as nomads. Okay, but here in this Neolithic age, the people lived, permanent houses, they built houses for them permanently, and many large villages had started in this Neolithic age. That is why this Neolithic period, Neolithic age is called as the New Age. And the last one, Ice Age. This Ice Age is before 8000 BC. BC, or we can say it as Common Era. Understand? This before 8000 BC, because fully it's covered with ice. That is why that age is called as Ice Age. Can you able to follow? Full of ice and snow. The people, there was snow at that time. Understand? Only the age, there was the people, they don't have any houses, and human beings was not there. There is no living thing at that time. So full of ice and snow only. So the period is called as Ice Age. Understand? These are all about the prehistoric period. Only the period, the divisions we saw. Then afterwards, this is about in India. Next we'll pass on to the Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period and Neolithic period in Tamil Nadu. இது ஃபுல்லாக நம்ம பார்த்தது இந்தியாவில் நம்ம பார்த்தோம், இந்தியாவில் அண்ட் அவுட் சைட் நியர்பை இந்தியா. அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட்? நவ் நெக்ஸ்ட் இதில் பேசேஜ் வில் கோ ஆன் டு த Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period, Neolithic period in Tamil Nadu we'll see in the next chapter, next class. Thank you children.